Alright, 5 reasons why we should all be excited for the Galaxy S10. Let's do this. Samsung Experience 10, which has already been leaked and shown by XDA months ahead of time. The version I'm about to show you is actually running on a Galaxy S9, but is pretty much the software you will get when the S10 ships. There's a night theme, aka dark mode, which changes things up visually, but also saves battery on AMOLED displays. You've got a rounded card aesthetic, which is a little closer to what we've seen on Google's Pixel phones, not to mention a completely redesigned multitasking menu and different looking navigation keys. Speaking of which, you can also hide the navbar and stick to gestures only, something we're starting to expect on phones in 2019. But when XDA were digging through the code of this update, they found something else which was pretty interesting. Number 2, options. And just before we carry on, today's video is brought to you by AppMatch.com, the smarter way to find mobile apps on the internet. The weird thing this time round is that Samsung seems to be planning not 2, not 3, but 4 Galaxy S10 smartphones. We know that the code name for the S10 is Beyond, and this code that has been discovered talked about Beyond 0, Beyond 1, and 2 versions of Beyond 2, which seems massively excessive, but I think I have an explanation for it. Beyond 0 will apparently come with a flat 5.8-inch display, which is a bit weird because Samsung hasn't used a flat display in a flagship phone since the Galaxy S7. But there is a group of people who really don't like these edge displays because they distort the image, make the phone more fragile, and register accidental touches. So it does make sense for Samsung to give people the option. It seems like this device will be targeted squarely at the iPhone XR. It's going to have a single camera like that phone, and the fact that they're sticking to a flat display and not their usual edge displays kind of makes me think they're going to angle it as an entry-level Galaxy S10. They might call it the Galaxy S10 Lite, maybe even the Galaxy S10R, depends how savage Samsung is feeling. Then you've got Beyond 1, which would basically be the real S9 successor, with a curved 5.8-inch screen and dual rear cameras, up from single last time. But then it gets interesting. We've got 2 versions of Beyond 2, each with 6.44-inch curved displays, and something else, which brings us on to number 3, triple cameras, which is something that started off as little more than Chinese whispers, but is now a legitimate and likely possibility. You might know that Samsung has already released its first device with 3 cameras, the Galaxy A7 2018, and I suspect this was just the start. As it is a mid-range phone, its overall camera quality probably isn't the best, but it does have an ultra-wide lens with a 120-degree field of view. This would be a great addition to the S10. The ability to get super wide-angle shots is massively useful if you're trying to take group photos or even just landscapes. And on the subject of cameras, it almost sounds like Samsung is getting a little bit trigger happy with them. The Beyond 1 and both models of the Beyond 2 are apparently coming with 2 front-facing cameras, but I could only find one source for this, so I wouldn't put too much weight on that rumor. Now, I mentioned that there were going to be 2 versions of Beyond 2. What's that about? Well, it leads us quite nicely onto number 4, 5G. The top-tier Galaxy S10 should be packing 5G functionality, and to be honest, I think it makes sense that they make 2 separate versions of the phone, one that supports it and one that doesn't. This 5G would need 4 to 5 more antennae in the phone than 4G, and so will make it more expensive. And seeing as 5G will only just be getting started when these phones come out, it's not a feature that everyone will want. But for those people who are willing to splurge, the quoted specifications of 5G are miles ahead of 4G, like to the point where it's not even funny. Theoretical speeds are as much as 1,000 times faster, and real-world rates are pitched at 50 times faster. The caveat being, it's a bit of a gamble. We don't really know when it's going to reach full-scale adoption. Okay, number 5, new design. Obviously, this far ahead of launch, Samsung has been pretty tight-lipped about what these phones are going to look like. But for some reason, DJ Ko, the CEO of Samsung Electronics, decided to publicly confirm that the S10 phones will be a massive change, which is a bit ambiguous, but we can infer a few things. Given the hard time that Samsung has given Apple for their notches, I've no doubt that all 4 phones will be notchless. As for the highest end phone, you'll notice displays are getting consistently larger. So the S9 Plus had a 6.2-inch display, this time round we're looking at 6.44. And based on what Samsung has done in the past few years, they'll probably keep a similar body size, which means higher screen-to-body ratio. A leaked benchmark suggests we are now moving from an 18.5 to 9 aspect ratio to a 19 to 9 aspect ratio, a taller screen. And so, combining this all together, take the S9 Plus display, stretch it vertically, and this is roughly what to expect. The other area I think we'll see a change is in the finishes. We've already seen leaks for a wider variety of colors, but this time around Samsung might actually try to do something that's a little bit more than a plain glass back. It looks like they've been experimenting with their less important devices, like the China-only Galaxy A9 Star, which can now be had in a gradient finish that looks suspiciously like a Huawei phone we've seen not too long ago. Literally every company has been stepping up their smartphone color game in 2018, so I think it'd be good to see Samsung follow suit. Okay, so obviously this is not a comprehensive list. The high-end S10 phones are also getting a next-generation 7nm chip, not to mention a supposed in-display fingerprint scanner, and I hope a better performing battery. But nonetheless, as you can probably tell, there is a lot to be excited for, and according to the rumors, it's happening a lot sooner than it has in past years. So let's take a quick tour of AppMatch, which is maybe the most personalized way to find apps anywhere on the internet. You start by going to appmatch.com on your mobile phone and clicking Start Quiz. As you answer questions, AppMatch starts to understand your preferences, and their proprietary technology will then match you with applications that it decides you will enjoy using. Also, additional quizzes will unlock based on what it has learnt about you. For example, I said I was into gaming, and now the Gaming 1.0 quiz has unlocked, and here it is learning my gaming preferences. And like most platforms, this works both ways. They also have an ad platform for developers who are trying to get in front of the users searching for apps. So check out appmatch.com in the description below. There's no other app recommendation service out there quite like it.